Earthworms are animals, you know. They also have a nervous system. They also get stressed out from caffeine. So with pure caffeine, it's too much. Treat them well. I'm going to take you through 8 cases. In the book, I have 100. I'm taking you through 8 cases in the snapshot format, because I do like to have some feedback from you afterwards as well. But I would like to share with you that we all want that green economy. We all want that sustainable economy. We all want to change. We all have the responsibility from here on to inspire people, young people in particular, that it's not going to be difficult to switch it around from we've goofed up and we've wasted our time. It's not difficult. The opportunities are so vast and so easy. So let's start with one of my favorite cases, the vortex. One of those beautiful nonlinear mathematical phenomena that shows that actually, yes indeed, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, but it's the most energy inefficient one. Because there's something like resistance and friction. And if you want to overcome resistance and friction, you better swirl around. That is how the molecules have decided to operate. That's how the law of gravity is making it possible. And that's every morning when you get up and flush your toilet, that's you see what's happening right there. You look at the vortex every day and you never thought about, oh, it's pressing air out of the water. Because that's what this machine does. Basically, a vortex is the way rivers cleanse themselves, and it's the way how rivers with some type of vortices is able to press the air out of the water, because at the core of the vortex, it's 80 bar pressure, 800 psi pressure. And in another vortex, it's actually pressing air into the water. Now, we all know what it happens. You have a very interesting bacterial control when you press air out and put air in. Now, that's exactly what the vortex does. What can we do with it? Well, first application, this is commercialized. First application is you just make ice. Simply by using the existing pressure of water, you let it run through a vortex, you extract all the air from the vortex, from the water, and now you freeze your ice rink with 100,000 kilowatt hours per year less energy. Nothing is needed. The law of gravity works all the time, no doubt. And you can take different types of water, but when you have water coming down at the coastal line, I guarantee you have a high amount of dissolved oxygen in it. Second case, very simple. You have the same type of vortex, you increase the pressure, you only need a 12 volt DC pressure pump to do that. The rest is by courtesy of the law of gravity. And what you do is you create a vortex that is so strong that the membranes of the bacteria are disrupted. You have just eliminated the need for bactericides. We know what bactericides is doing to the ecosystem. We're forcing those bacteria to mutate faster and faster and faster because of the chemistry we use. Nature is smarter. Don't use chemistry, use physics. Physics does the job neat and clean. Or you can do the opposite. Now what you're seeing here is a very interesting phenomenon of the vortex. You actually see the pressure of the vortex going all the way to the back, coming out of here, and this chaotic phenomena is reorganized itself in the back. You see that? How it goes against all logic? If anyone of you has one of these pointers, that would be great. If you don't have it, my finger will do. But what is the result? The result is that now you have micro bubbles of air dissolved in the water. Now what we can do, thank you. So what we can do here is actually we have a critical absorption of CO2. Now who's in the business of algae and biofuels? You should. Because if you have the capacity to put more CO2 in your water, not only more CO2 in the water, you put more CO2 in the water with the size of the bubble that is equal to the opening in the membrane of the spirulina algae. Then we're talking about real business. Because what we're doing now is we're pumping these big bubbles into the water, And those poor spirulina algae, they're going to try to have to get a little piece of it. It doesn't work. That is why 90% of the energy is lost. And that is why algae biofuels are not competitive on the market. The only thing we have to do is do what rivers do. I mean, rivers. They know how to put in a lot of oxygen. And so this system gives you a predictable result of the size and the amount of dissolved CO2 bubbles into your water. And that allows you to start farming algae. That allows you, first of all, to fight malnutrition, because algae should first and foremost be used to fight malnutrition. When you have too much food, then you can start making biofuels. And the biofuels cost will be equivalent today, as our project in Brazil shows, at $75 a gallon. A barrel, sorry, $75 a barrel. We compete today with petroleum using these techniques. And anyone who wants to build a bioreactor, I wish you go and find an angel investor. Because bioreactors today brings you at probably $250 to $200 a barrel. And the key thing is using the laws of physics in a biological process. Here's another case, to me, the most important one of them all. Here, inside, there is a vortex generator. And what you do is you put in dirty water, and the dirt gets pressed to the core with this type of vortex, and the dirty water is let out, and the clean water goes to the next vortex, and the next vortex, and the next vortex. And depending on the type of water you have, you put in 4, 5, 6 of these vortex columns, and you have clean water. Clean water at this moment for 1 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. Any of you knows reverse osmosis? We retrofit reverse osmosis machines so the salt intake comes there, and the best General Electric reverse osmosis machines today do 2.4 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. We drop it to 1 on the existing machines. But this machine has not even a need for a membrane. Physics does it. And we all know that. You remember classes? We probably were 10 or 12 years old when they told us, do you know why ice is floating? You remember that kind of story? Yeah. And water behaves very strange because below 4 degrees it starts expanding. No. Water is 70% of the earth. You got it wrong. Everything else is not behaving right. Water is the rule. Everyone else is the exception. But we know that water in the ocean is perfectly capable of pressing the salt out. And that goes through microvortices. And of course we all don't want to see the big ones. Because if it's not big enough, we don't see it. But the microvortices are the movements in the water that allow salt to be separated. It can only be done in a swirling movement. I think that if you're looking for a fundamental class for eco-entrepreneurship, it's going to be a whole semester about nothing but the vortex. We're going to see things swirl. We're going to dance it. You're going to have to be able to understand how nature, by simply controlling the intake and the outtake of air in water, controls so much. And we have decided to neglect it. And the basic laws are simple. And guess what? It works. You will love this. Generating energy from wind. Okay, we know that. There's a lot of opportunity in wind. But what I don't like in wind is this. I don't like those. Because they're too expensive. Not because they're not because of the renewable energy, but because they're too expensive. So the first thing we said, why do we have to use pylons? Let's use all the pylons that already exist. You know, just a simple thought. I mean, isn't this the way nature works? Use what you have.